Our next guest here tonight has viewed what he says is the disturbing document that the American people deserve to see, and he wants that memorandum released straight away. Joining us from the Republican retreat in West Virginia, Congressman Mark Meadows, a member of several key committees, including Foreign Affairs, Oversight, and Government Reform. He's also chairman of the influential House Freedom Caucus. Congressman, great to have you with us. These latest developments here, this is getting uglier by the moment. When we thought we were on the way to transparency, the release of the memorandum straightforwardly.
Well, it is getting uglier, Lou, but I think the other part is it's time for transparency for the American people. I've been calling on it, as you know, along with Jim Jordan and a number of my colleagues. But Chairman Nunes has an obligation to inform Congress when there has been FISA abuses. And so all he's doing is following on his constitutional duty to let us know about that. Now, it doesn't surprise me that the FBI is pushing back. They have been stonewalling for a year. They've had to come under a subpoena and a threat of contempt to be able to produce the documents. And now all of a sudden they're saying they're concerned about omissions. Well, let's put all the documents out there. If they're concerned about this 4-page memo, which truly is revealing and the American people should be concerned about, let them judge for themselves. Let's go ahead and put all the documents out there. I don't think they want that either. And so when we're talking about this tonight, this is the thou protestest too much when the FBI comes here. They have grave concerns. I have grave concerns that the kinds of things that I've read about cannot continue, and now is a time for transparency, Lou.
I think nearly every American would agree with you. Certainly, I would say all Americans would, but we don't live in that time and age in which we're going to have unanimity of view. You know, Congressman, it strikes me that this is President Trump's director of the FBI now. We're talking about a man put in that job by this president, and he has the, I'm going to say it, the effrontery to go against his president, our president. There is in this government, as you well know, a head of state and a head of government, and in our system of government, he is the same fellow. I am stunned at what we are witnessing from the Justice Department, the ignorance of its actions and the ignorance of the words coming from the head of the FBI. This is stunning, stunning stuff.
Well, as Catherine was just reporting, they had the ability, some 90 minutes was actually much longer than it took me to read the memo twice, to go over and said, are there any factual inaccuracies in this memo? My understanding is that indeed they could not find any factual inaccuracies.
Right. So
now what they're wanting to do is tell the rest of the story so they can spin it their way. It is concerning. I can tell you that for us, we have encouraged our colleagues to support transparency in all regard. I went down and looked at the Democrat memo, and if they will fix some of the inaccuracies in that memo and sourcing problems, I believe we ought to release that as well. This is not a partisan document. This is a document that truly elevates concerns that all Americans should be concerned about.
And we are just receiving word from our chief correspondent at the White House, John Roberts, telling us that the new version of the memorandum, as it had been in some ways altered apparently by the White House review, 5 professional members of the FBI were at the White House to meet with the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, and to go through that. Despite Kelly's efforts, John Roberts reports, to allay the concerns from the FBI went ahead and released that statement today, saying that there were omissions and that they oppose the memo's release. The statement, Roberts reports, has left the White House scratching their heads as to what the FBI and the Department of Justice are up to. I can make an interjection here and say to you, I can tell you what they're up to. They're trying to cover themselves and their actions up from the view of the American people.
Well, one could draw that conclusion, Lou, and when you see that what this actually is all about is not about divulging any types of sources. This is about transparency and what went on and shouldn't have gone on. I can tell you, I've been calling for a special prosecutor, a second special prosecutor, to investigate this. If they're real concerned about anybody putting their hands on the scale or Lady Justice peeking from behind that blindfold, let us go ahead and get a special prosecutor and let them come up with the full transparency. But I can tell you, they haven't been forthcoming, Lou. We have been requesting documents in the Oversight and Government Reform Committee for many, many weeks, and we've gotten less than 2,000 documents of 1.2 million documents. So if they're concerned about omissions, they have part of that responsibility.
A substantial part of it when they are not basically, they're telling the committee with oversight, in this case the House Intelligence Committee, along with Judiciary in both the Senate and the House, they're telling congressional oversight to go to hell. And there's no other way to construct this. I mean, that is precisely what they're doing.
Well, that's what they're doing. But you know, Lou, this is not my first rodeo. We're going to be tenacious. We're going to make sure that your viewers and the American people have the right to see this. Right. And it's all about transparency, and we've got to get to the truth. Absolutely.
Congressman Mark Meadows, we thank you for being with us, and we appreciate everything you're doing for the American public's right to know.